There's nerves, there's nerves, there's nerves. But I got bottle. I don't turn down a challenge.
He has one of the deadliest uppercuts of all time. So of course I have to be ready and know that he's gonna have some moments in there and I'm gonna have to persevere.
Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul faced each other before their fight. Dave Coldwell said he only started taking it seriously when he heard Jake Paul speak about it, and he felt that if Paul pushed for the fight, it would happen in the end.
I'd heard Jake Paul talking about it, so I thought, you know what if Jake Paul wants it to happen, it'll happen. But how it switched from Tank to AJ was a bit of, what, eh? Okay. But it's not, the fight happening isn't a surprise to me, but how it dropped on us, that was a surprise, yeah.
Now last one, if you put Jake Paul in the ring with Anthony Joshua 5,000 times, how many times does Jake Paul win?
Depends if AJ was asleep by the time it got to 5,000.
Ryan Garcia said no one can tell how Jake Paul will respond if Anthony Joshua lands a heavy shot, because Paul has never taken a true power punch before.
When Jake gets hit by Anthony, do we even know how he can react to a big punch yet? We don't. He's never even got hit yet, in a real fight. He's never taken a real punch. So, that's what I'm saying. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, AJ shot and, he's getting knocked out. But what about you? How are you going to react when that big shot hits you? You think you're going to snap back into it and know what to do? No, not going to happen. I give him, out of a million times if they fought, honest to God, I think he could win maybe one out of the million times they.
Frank Martin said he does not see Jake Paul as just an online figure testing out boxing these days today.
I consider Jake now, I wouldn't consider him like a YouTube fighter no more. I feel like he put in the time. He gotten better throughout all his fights. He done got better throughout all those fights, But it's still when you fighting fighters who actually done it for their whole life, it's a little different. If that fight happened, it'll be a good money fight. It'll be a good money fight. But that's a tough task for, Jake going to get that big ass heavyweight AJ. I know AJ personally, so that's a tough task, and that motherfucker could punk.
Jose Benitez said people should not write off Jake Paul because the fight is risky for him, and it could even bring a surprise outcome.
Don't count him out. I think that's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. But at the end of the day, we could have a big upset, But I think that AJ is too much for Jake Paul at this point, and he's bigger than Jake Paul, in my opinion.
Do you think it's competitive? A lot of people are saying if AJ doesn't get him out of there in 2 rounds, it'll be a huge embarrassment.
I don't think that's not the case, that he's gonna get Jake Paul. At the end of the day, Jake Paul has been training hard too, and he's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he would take him out in 2-3 rounds. I think maybe in the later rounds, or it might go to decision, But I don't think that Jake Paul can take AJ out. Or AJ could take Jake Paul. Maybe, But I don't know. It's just going to be an exciting fight. I think I want to see that fight, to be honest with you.
Dana White said the idea of Jake Paul facing Anthony Joshua does not make sense as a fight, though he agreed it would bring attention.
Jake Paul, Joshua.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what. A lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. Then I think everybody's going to get what they finally been waiting.
Tommy Fury said that since he was able to beat Jake Paul, it is clear what a fighter like Anthony Joshua would do to him.
If I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. That automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago, and now all of a sudden he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on, you can't be serious. He can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So it's just ludicrous. It really.
David Hay said he respects Jake Paul for stepping into a spot where things can turn bad fast, because boxing is tough and can cause real damage.
I commend Jake Paul for putting himself in harm's way, because boxing is a dangerous game. People have died in the ring. People have been seriously injured, maimed. And he believes in himself enough to do it on a massive scale, because it's not about the money. He's got enough money. This is him wanting to push the boundaries of reality. He's manifested an amazing life for himself. He's a superstar, and I think he wants to try and do the unthinkable. He wants to. It's an insane challenge he's put himself up.
Tony Bello said he will not take any talk about the fight seriously until Jake Paul actually steps into the ring.
I don't believe it. I don't believe a single thing until I see him in the ring. I don't believe any. Even if they come together for a press, I don't believe it. I don't genuinely believe he will climb into a boxing ring with 10-ounce gloves on with Anthony Joshua. It won't happen. It can't.
Hypothetically, if it does, how long does it last?
As long as Josh wants it to. Simple as that. As long as he wants it to. The same way it did with Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. The same way it did with Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou.
Frank Warren said Jake Paul has been questioned for not having a real amateur background and for entering the sport with only about 10 to 12 fights.
Well, my thoughts on it is that Jake Paul's had a lot of accusations over the years for a guy who's had no amateur fights. What's he had, about 10 or 12 fights? Yeah, fights. I'm not sure what he's had. And, you look at the opposition he's had, and people saying, when's he going to fight somebody? He stepped up. He's stepping up to a two-time world champion, a genuine heavyweight, a proper heavyweight champion, and an active fighter. And this is a big moment for him. And you got to take your hat off to him for that. This fight, as regarding AJ, I'm sure AJ's wants a fight back after that, that unbelievable loss he had against Daniel Dubois. That's quite an emphatic loss. He wants to come back, get himself, dip his toe in the water. He's going to get paid a lot of money for this. This fight's going to generate a lot of money, because for me, it's a fighter. Jake Paul's going to be a massive underdog against a big favourite, a big odds-on favourite. Can he do it or not? This is a car crash, and people will watch it, because that's what people do at car crashes. That's what
he steps into the ring. Frank Warren said Jake Paul has been questioned for not having a real amateur background and for entering the sport with only about 10 to 12 fights. Interview 10. Dan Rafael talked about the possible fight and said he is surprised that Jake Paul would even say yes to it.
I'm going to say it for you. Okay?
Done. No,
if Jake
done.
Paul beats Anthony Joshua by a knockout, this is a million times better than what I always have thought was a very ill-conceived event with Tank Davis. So whatever you think about Jake and some of the types of fights that he has made, you got to give him credit for at least everybody has said for a long time now, fight a real fighter, fight a real boxer. Well, Anthony Joshua was absolutely a real boxer, a real fighter. You can't deny that. Like you said, two-time world champion, Olympic gold medalist. Now, he may not be at what he was when he was absolute peak. There's no doubt that Anthony Joshua was beyond his apex of his career. Mm-hmm. But even though he'll be coming off of about a 14-month layoff. Yeah. He was coming off having had surgery on his elbow. He's coming off of a very, very, very difficult, brutal, hard knockout loss in the Dubois fight. But all that said, I still think he's got enough to compete with any heavyweight in the world. For my perspective is, whatever you think about it, Jake Paul certainly has gotten better since he fought Tommy Fury. He's certainly gotten better over the last number of fights. Now, is he at an elite, world-class level? Probably not yet. He may never get to that level, but so you got to give him props. He's taken on a guy that I spend part of my morning talking to different boxing matchmakers, people I've known for decades in this business, who have vast experience of building fighters and moving fighters and developing them, and they know a lot better than you or me what they're looking at. And to a person, they were like, they don't understand why Jake took this fight, because they think it's, one person used the word of decapitation.